Welcome to my channel, everyone. My name is JT Mugabo. I'm a global real estate investor and currently operating in Washington, D.C. Today we're going to talk about one main issue: why investors are fleeing, are not investing in Washington, D.C. And why are investors moving into surrounding suburbs? And there is a main reason for that, and we're gonna look it up. So before starting, just click subscribe so you can have more information about real estate investment in Washington, D.C. or across the globe. It came across to me recently when I was checking the data when it comes to rehab properties. As you know, I've been doing flips, and now when it comes to D.C., so when I was running the data, I actually saw that there was 6 times more flips in Baltimore than there is in DC. Knowing how big the city of Baltimore is compared to DC, that was something that got me to worry again. So when I pushed away the data, I also noticed that in Frederick, Maryland, there is as much flips going into Frederick, Maryland than there is in DC. That is a huge concern because, as you know, flips always tell what the future economy is going to look like. So when the economy is improving, people move into area, which bring around more people. Therefore, the people who flip properties are the ones who are going to be in forehead of the market. So the more you're going to see flip somewhere, the more you currently can estimate, okay, there's going to be growth in that area. And so when we look at most of the major city in the US, most of the eastern cities, since the COVID, actually people have been buying outside of the area to go further away from the downtown. And this case is no a difference when it comes to DC. DC also has this issue. And then today we're gonna dip into the problem, and then we're going to look and see why investors are not investing in DC. As far as flippers, renters, what is the reason that makes them not invest in DC? And so to start, I'm going to start by first, I prepared a small spreadsheet so I can keep a record. So the first, we're going to look at the investors who are looking to buy and rent. So there's for the rental investor. So the main issue that they're going to have is the regulations. As you guys know, DC market is very regulated, and especially the laws are usually very tenant friendly. So if you know the TOPA rights, the tenant opportunity to purchase, so that give a huge advantage to tenants, because basically we have many situations where the tenant won't pay the rent and then he won't be kicked off out of the house for 1 year, And then also one other thing is also actually created a lot of, it created a lot of transaction out of the TOPA, because sometimes you have a tenant in your house, he doesn't want to move, you want to fix it or sell it. If you want to sell it, someone will say, hey, I'm not going to buy it because I won't be able to kick him out. So the tenants basically become more powerful, and therefore they end up leveraging the position. So when you want to move a tenant out of your property to rehab it, you may have to pay between $20,000 to $30,000, So we done some operation where I had to put cash on the keys, and when it comes to DC, it was usually in between 20 and 30K. When it's less, people don't accept because they know that they can get much more. So it's a very tenant friendly, and then this also has an impact, because if you're an owner, you're going to rent our property, you're running a huge risk, because you can basically just spend 1 year no rent and you still have someone inside. You're going to kick them out, put someone new, same problem. So I can understand any investor. Myself right now, I never invested anything in DC when it comes to rental. I did one flip, but I never did anything else when it comes to rental, because the law are very against the owner. And then this problem is probably going to even increase in the future, as the TOPA rights are going to be extended into PG County and other surrounding suburbs. So this is kind of kill the market. So now we're going to look at the second reason. The second main reason, I probably just discussed about it before, but it was about the US market trends. So the trends is people are not living in city anymore. People are not moving in city. People are moving out of the city. So when you look at the dynamics of this region, you will see that a lot of people are buying into Virginia, Maryland, but they're going further away from the city. 20 minutes away from the city to have some better area, to have some grass, of course, and to have maybe a better state. So this creates, how can I say, this creates a depression, into the demand of DC, because a lot of people are going outside. So I don't know if you ever seen if you've seen the price right now compared in the past 3 years, the increase has been very, very low. We have increased that in order than less than 1% per year, and in certain area they lost in prices. And obviously, there is always some area in DC where you would put a property on the market and it could sell in 5-10 days. That always depends on the neighborhood. But generally, it's going to be more complicated. And then also, the other thing is that the other part of the dynamic is also in DC, it's more expensive to buy in DC than it is to buy in Maryland. For you to go in a good neighborhood and trying to buy something for less than 500K, it's gonna be probably not possible for a house, I'm talking. And so that's the dynamic that we've been seeing on the US market. Now let's move to the permitting, to the other reason. The other reason is the permitting. The permitting, if you ever did a permitting in DC, you know how hard it is because of the administration. First of all, the permit can take from 6 to 1 year. Let's go in the case where you don't even use an expediter and you don't know anyone. It's going to take 1 year. I have some properties that we sold to some flippers, and after 1 year, they still haven't started the renovation because there is issues with the permitting or the how can I say, the DCRA are asking more information. How can I say? And if you do the same flip, you cross the border in Maryland, sometimes everything goes faster, and you end up having something on the market much less than before. So the permitting process, it's really a struggle, and I think for anyone who's in the real estate or currently in the DC, that's a huge hurdle, and it also kills the market. So the permitting, this obviously that is not something that is going to change soon, but this is something that you take in account when you're running numbers, as you may have to hold your deal longer, which means you're probably going to pay the holding cost. So this also is going to impact, and having investors buying much lower than they should be, meaning that there is less deals, meaning there is how can I say, there is less inventory, and so it becomes way more complicated. And to go to the first reason, to the fourth reason, when you look at the states around us, basically we live in DC, and then people are buying in Virginia and Maryland for one reason, Also, it's many different reasons, but there could be. But also part of them, first of all, DC is more expensive. The second, there is also safety. There is problems that comes with safety. As we know, DC is one of the, the capital city. Is the capital city, but one of the city where there is the most gun shootings. And so most people that work, a lot of people that work in DC, when you tell them DC, they're just like, no, I can go work there, but I don't want to live there. Let's be honest about it. DC is not safe. I've been living here for 2.5 years. Before that, I was in Paris. I was in Paris, Luxembourg, of course. And how can I say, the level of safety that comes here, I can say in certain cases it's a joke, because I already seen people getting shot in front of me, and this has never been happening in any city that I lived to before. So people are getting shot, you get robbed. My car got robbed 2 times this year, So when you live in DC, you have to be resilient, and a lot of people are not ready for that. So that's a concern that also has to be on the table, There is a lack of safety, unfortunately. So meet you in the future, if I can, first I will never do a flip in DC unless really I got the deal at so much low that I don't have any other choice than doing it. But the other thing is, if I had a choice to live somewhere where my car doesn't get stolen, no one is going to shoot me down. I can't walk out with a watch. Yeah, of course, I will go to that city. So this is a reflection I've been running for myself also. I still love DC because there is other positive things that I like about DC, but that particular question is a huge concern that a lot of people are talking about. And that's a good thing. And when you look at those apps that shows criminality, you can check. There is one that shows criminality. You You click on it, as soon as you cross the border of DC, everything disappears. I live 1 mile away from DC, and you can never imagine what huge difference it makes. Because I'm in, I'm in the other side. So that's a huge concern. And then also, the fifth reason is the HPAP fund. So the HPAP fund it's a fund that helps first-time home buyers that to borrow the money. It borrows the money that they have to bring down to buy a property. And in many cases, the HPAP is very helpful. It's been very helpful actually because a lot of people have been able to purchase towards this program. But now the issue we've been having in the past 2 years is that the HPAP funds usually gets to lack. It start by the beginning of the year, and in the middle of the year, we just hear the HPAP funds is running out of funds. So that's a huge concern. And then also, if you know, HPAP was something that was holding the market of DC together. I mean, when there is no buyers and there is incentive like the HPAP, people buy because there is. But when there won't be any HPAP, of course, the prices. What do you think the price is gonna go? It's gonna go down. So HPAP has this possibility of influencing the market in the right direction. And but what happened recently is that now HPAP runs out of funds. So each year they do a fund, they give them, there is a lot of application, and then now they're running out of funds, so much so that this year they using lottery now. So for you to get access to the HPAP funds money, you have to be able to to go to the lottery system, which makes it complicated, but I'm going to explain to you what makes it even more complicated as an investor. So as an investor, if you have a property that you've been fixing, it's on the market now. You have someone come in and just say, hey, I have this property, I want to fix it. I want to fix it and rehab it and sell it on the market. And most times, if it's a property in the $500 or less, you're going to have someone who's using HPAP fund. And if the HPAP fund doesn't perform, you're going to go under contract with someone who's never going to be able to make it at closing. So this happens a lot. So I actually have a friend who had 2 properties on the market, and he got under contract with 2 people who had HPAP, and they had to cancel the contract. So I think that the more we go, the more HPAP is losing its credibility. And as an investor, when you look at it, you're not going to take that risk of rehabbing in somewhere where you don't know who's going to be the buyer. So the more time goes, the more DC is becoming that city that people don't want to go to. And so, and for me, the hurts are there in front of us. We know them. We know what the hurts are. And as an investor, the best important thing is to be able to navigate towards all this hurdle and still be able to make a profit, but also impacting neighborhoods too. So I think that is a tough point to talk about. So if you guys have any idea on how DC should improve, on if you have encountered an investment that went wrong in DC, don't hesitate to comment on this video, and then we can talk more about the matter. And also, I thank you guys for taking the time to be here with me and then listen to this problematic that we have in DC, and which I will hope that in the future we won't be having, obviously. So we will see what's going to happen in the future, and between there, in between the next video, click subscribe, and then I wish you a good day as we reaching a weekend today in DC. So thank you very much, and have a nice day.